Character predicts year 5, chemistry predicts date 1. And right now, most people are choosing based on date 1 and crying in year 5, wondering how love turned into anxiety, silence, or betrayal. You felt sparks on the first night, butterflies, intensity, so you ignored the warning signs hiding in plain sight because no one told you this truth. Chemistry is loud, but character is patient. And here's the uncomfortable question. What if the person you're falling for is already showing you exactly how this ends? Character predicts whether they'll cheat, stay, or disappear when life gets ugly. It predicts whether they'll stand beside you in illness, pressure, boredom, or inconvenience. It predicts whether they'll protect your heart or justify breaking it. You think you can't see character early, but you can if you know where to look. And once you see it, you can't unsee it, which is why most people avoid looking at all. Most people misunderstand what character actually is. They think it means being nice, polite, charming, well-spoken. That's not character. That's performance. Character is who they are when there's no reward, no audience, no advantage. So ask yourself, how do they act when being decent costs them something? Watch how they treat people who can't benefit them, the waiter, the cleaner, the Uber driver, the receptionist. If they're dismissive, rude, impatient, or entitled, don't romanticize it. That's not stress. That's entitlement leaking out. Because here's the part no one tells you. How they treat them eventually becomes how they treat you. Early relationships are auditions. Everyone is on their best behavior. But character doesn't disappear. It waits. It waits until comfort replaces effort. And when the mask drops, what's underneath isn't mood, it's pattern. So when they snap under pressure, ask yourself, is this a bad day or a preview? Let's talk about cheating, because this is where people lie to themselves the most. Cheating isn't about opportunity. It's not about temptation. It's about character. Research shows entitlement, poor impulse control, and lack of empathy predict infidelity, and once you see those traits early, you're already seeing the ending. The person who can cheat won't. The person who will cheat finds a way. They don't need opportunity, they manufacture it. They don't feel guilt, they feel justified. And when caught, they don't take responsibility. They blame circumstances, loneliness, or you. So ask yourself, when things go wrong, do they own it, or do they rewrite reality? Pay attention to how they handle conflict. Do they listen or attack your character? Do they apologize or just want the argument to end? Research shows how couples fight matters more than how often they fight. Because if you can't safely disagree, you're not in love, you're in danger. Life will get hard, that's guaranteed. Illness, loss, stress, money problems, boredom, character determines whether someone leans in or checks out. Studies following couples for decades found neuroticism and poor emotional regulation predict divorce. So when things aren't fun anymore, will they fight for you or look for the exit? Now imagine parenting with this person. How they treat vulnerable people is a preview of how they'll treat your children. Do they lose patience quickly, mock weakness, avoid responsibility? You can't fake empathy for 18 years. And here's the terrifying part. You're not just choosing a partner, you're choosing your child's other parent. Money problems aren't usually money problems. They're character problems. Lying about spending, hiding debt, breaking financial agreements. Research shows financial deception damages relationships as deeply as sexual betrayal. Integrity with money is integrity with life. So ask yourself, will you build a future with them or clean up their messes forever? Emotional safety is where character shows up the loudest. Do they protect your vulnerabilities or weaponize them later? Do they mock your fears, dismiss your pain, minimize your emotions? Research on narcissistic dynamics shows lack of empathy causes long-term psychological harm. You can't build intimacy with someone who uses openness as ammunition. So why do people ignore character? Because chemistry hijacks your brain. Dopamine makes red flags look like butterflies. Research shows intense attraction overrides rational judgment, which means you're making permanent decisions while temporarily impaired, and calling it love. Another reason? You're dating potential, not pattern. You see who they could be, not who they are. But potential isn't character, and studies show core personality traits rarely change. So ask yourself, are you dating reality or a fantasy you're hoping will come true? You focus on surface traits instead. Looks, status, humor, confidence, charm. Those create attraction, but they don't sustain love. Research confirms conscientiousness and emotional stability predict long-term satisfaction, not chemistry, because a charming narcissist is still a narcissist, just better at hiding it. Here's how to actually assess character, if you're brave enough. The waiter test, the X test, the boundary test, because every one of these reveals something people can't fake for long. How do they talk about their exes? If every ex is crazy, there's one common denominator. Blame shifting predicts repeated harm. Research shows people who externalize fault repeat destructive patterns. If everyone before you was the problem, guess who's next? Set a boundary early. Say no. Watch their reaction. Respect or pressure. Someone who can't handle your no doesn't respect you. If they push now, imagine year 3 when they feel entitled to you. Watch what happens when they mess up. Do they own it instantly or deflect, minimize, gaslight? Accountability is the backbone of character. Studies show couples thrive when partners take responsibility. Someone who can't apologize can't grow and won't change. Now, watch them under stress. Anyone can be kind when life is easy. Stress exposes truth. If they're cruel when tired now, imagine when life collapses. Character doesn't show up when it's convenient, it shows up when it's costly. Time is the ultimate test. Patterns don't lie. 3 months shows the representative, 6 months shows the cracks, 12 months shows reality, and rushing commitment is how people miss all of it. So what does good character actually feel like? Safe, calm, stable, predictable, not dramatic, not intoxicating, boring in the best way. And if that feels unfamiliar, ask yourself what kind of chaos you've been conditioned to crave. Bad character guarantees eventual betrayal. Good character guarantees nothing except effort, honesty, and respect. And research proves personality predicts outcomes better than attraction ever will. So stop choosing chemistry over character, because chemistry fades, but character stays. Drop a comment. Did you ignore character and pay the price? Or did you choose it and it saved you? Subscribe for deeper relationship psychology that protects you, because you don't just deserve chemistry, you deserve character that lasts.